Well, hello, 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 hello. Welcome today. So happy that you're here. Greetings to everyone wherever you're watching from. And my name is Leslie Montgomery. This is the LKM Kingdom Living, Leslie's Lessons Learned. And we are here today to share with you some more on purpose. We've been talking about purpose for the last 3 weeks. But before we do, I have to put this on silent. I have to look. When I look in the mirror this morning, I'm glad for what I see. Let me tell you, before I got up this morning and I was laying there, and then the enemy started talking to me, the enemy, and saying, "You're such a failure. You don't have anything going on. Everything you do just doesn't work out." So you know what I did? I got up out the bed and I started moving. I didn't lay there and wallow in it. And I want to encourage you today, those that are wondering if life is worth living, that it is worth living, and if you're living it because you still have something to do. Don't allow that enemy to destroy what Yahweh wants to do in your life. I want you to be encouraged. I want you to get up out the bed. I had to get up out the bed and get to moving. Sometimes we lay there and we begin to pamper that thought. We begin to, like, it's almost like a puppy and you want to pet it. Yeah, everything I look at, everything I'm doing, it's just falling apart. Well, that's not true. Anytime you get that, most times you are about to go somewhere else. And in your process, if the enemy could stop you or hinder it, that's what he's going to do. So when you look in the mirror today, I want you to say, life is worth living. Yes, it is. And I want us to say what we normally say every Sunday. And the saying is, a life without me is like a world without color. And I want you to know today that a life without you to someone else is like a world without color. Sometimes we get caught up on what we're going through. We get caught up in ourselves and how we feel, and we forget about we are important to other people. So as we come forth today, I'm so happy that I've got my family with me today. And I know that it's going to be an awesome topic. Well, it's been awesome. I'm still getting replies from last week and how awesome Alicia is. And she is. She is very awesome. She walks in her calling. She walks in what she's been sent here to do. And in the midst of that, she's prospering. So she has a lot of stories to tell us because she's seeing results. And if we don't keep moving, if we don't keep going, we miss out on the results of what the Father is trying to do. And so here we are today. Yes, I know. Thank you, Alfreda. We can't figure out what it is. Um, but we're just going to go with it. So today, I want let Minister Wanda introduce yourself.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Wanda L. Floyd, and I am the the. I just forgot who I am.
Who are you? What are you?
Why am I? Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Wanda L. Floyd. I'm the owner of WLF Academy and the Brains and Beauty Business Academy, where we teach beauty industry professionals how to do business better. I am now a full-time educator and trainer. I am an author and I do some things in ministry. And I do have an event coming up that I'm very excited about and happy about, which will be taking place in September for those of us who just need to put a fire up under us. Sometimes we're just operating, but we're just operating in complacency. Sometimes there's things that we need to get done and we've been waiting to get done and we still haven't got done. Sometimes we have things going on where we don't, why should I talk? Will they listen to me? All of this? Well, I have the event for you. It's called Apply Pressure. And we are going to show you how to apply the proper pressure in your life so that you can walk in your purpose, which is what we're talking about today. So I'm just happy to be here.
Okay, so they talking about applying pressure. I get enough pressure. I might have to miss that one. No, I'm just kidding. So I want to welcome the Johnsons to the stage. We haven't had the both of them together in quite a while, and I'm excited to have them here to share with us what purpose looks like to them, some of the things that they have experienced, and they know that the purpose of Yahweh was in it. And just take a moment before you do. I want to say welcome to everybody that's joining. Thank you so much for being here. The UK, Philadelphia, New Jersey, wherever you're listening from, thank you so much. Take a moment and hit the like sign, subscribe, and share. And as we continue, may I hear from the Johnsons? I'm going to be nice today, I promise.
Well, I'm gonna let.
No.
Can you hear? Can you hear us? Okay.
Very, nope,
You can't.
You can't hear us?
very little.
Really? See, now y'all know it wasn't me. Last week, see, y'all was saying it was me. It's not me. It's not me.
And
It's
so you
not me.
still can't hear us.
No, it's better now.
It's better, but you're going to have to talk loud because go pull your mic up.
So hopefully that's better.
That's better.
Okay. Yeah, I changed the whole mic system because of the feedback. I think it may have been coming from our mics.
Oh, okay.
So, Alicia, go ahead and start.
Okay. Hi, I'm Alicia Johnson.
Here we go.
Am I introduced? I'm introducing me or like me?
You all can introduce each other together,
Okay.
whatever way you
Well,
want
I'll
to do it.
introduce, I'll do my standard intro. Hi, I'm Alicia
Okay.
Johnson, the creator of the 1212 community. And the 1212 community is dedicated to helping everyone who chooses to recalibrate their lives. The 1212 community is a community that I wish I had when I was going through the process. And so we are here to support everyone on their journey to learn how to live a life 12 hours for God and 12 hours for man. And we do that spirit, mind, and body. That's me.
But you know what? Something you said that is so true. We gonna behave, Mike. Don't worry. You look a little nervous over there. We
He
gonna
does.
behave.
He does. Like, I ain't gonna
No,
never do no
no.
calls with y'all
Y'all do
again.
how you do, right?
But Alicia, something you said that is so true. You support everybody. Anybody that asks you on the 1212 community, and I know outside of that you do other things as well. But whatever we have going on, you walk us through us, you support us, and I want to say thank you. Because it's not just a statement you're making, you literally support each and every one of us. And I just want to say I appreciate it and thank you. All right, Mr. Mike, the Mike man.
Right. So my name is Mike. Middle name Cullen, last name Johnson. I always say my full name, so
Sound like you about to do a
What's your
song.
full name? What's your
Sound
full
like you
name?
about to do a song. First name Mike, middle name
you'll see
Cullen,
me.
last name
You see me on
Johnson.
social media as Mike Cullen. I always tell people that's my middle name. Last name is Johnson. We're not separate. But for me, as many people know, I was diagnosed with multiple myeloma in 2022, and after probably a year and a half of treatments, I'm still doing treatments, but after a year of treatments, a stem cell transplant, I'm now in remission. And it's funny that we're talking about purpose, and I think this is what we were talking about the other day. How through this process, I've clearly identified my purpose, and just beginning to walk in that through just the process of learning, who I am and what I'm here to do. But I guess long story short, what I'm working on right now is training and preparing for a 6-day, 300-mile bike ride through Northern California, and that's a big part of my purpose, as for what I'm learning. So in that, I'll be able to help others who have multiple myeloma, who will be diagnosed with multiple myeloma in the future, through the Multiple Myeloma Research Foundation, who was sponsoring the ride.
Oh, so I'm gonna
So,
have to have you on to one day during the week to talk about that.
okay.
That's a very valuable thing that you can encourage others and that they know that there's help out there.
Yeah.
But today, uh, you two have a very powerful testimony of purpose, and you can go for so many different ways. I was thinking about it. You can go through talking about your son, talking about yourselves, talking about personal. But the other day, Mike, you were talking about how you see purpose more now in what y'all have gone through. And I was saying, can you talk about that? I know you're laughing like I don't even remember what I said.
Well, I do remember I was sharing with you the story of my, the sale of my grandparents' home, and the fact that, we always, Alicia always talks about in the community, year cycles and things like that. And I was in a year cycle 9. We're not sure if I'm still in that or coming out of, but I'm starting to see all of the miracles and purpose, in my life through this whole scenario. So finally closing down and selling my grandparents' home has shown me the where I am in life. I'm at closure. The year cycle 9 is closure, and I think we were also talking about the fact that through my grandparents, moving to that neighborhood that they lived in, I've been a big part. Since I was maybe 1 or 2, my grandparents have lived there, and I've always been at my grandparents' house. But because they chose to move into that neighborhood, everything that has happened, like today, is centered around that. Alicia was telling the story on a call of how our son was in a situation when we had to get him out to a house and we had to get him into a program to actually help him. And we were only able to do that through someone that I had a very good relationship with in that neighborhood that my grandparents just moved out of. Me and this gentleman went to elementary school, junior high school together, and lived a street over from my grandparents' house. So when it came time for us to actually do what we had to do with our son, we had to identify. We had to find someone that we knew high up in the government here in PG County to make this happen for us, because it was something that would probably normally take years to accomplish. I got on Facebook. I sent a message, and he remembered me and was, "Hey man, yeah, I definitely remember you, and yeah, I can help." And literally within a day's time, that instant message or direct message in Facebook started a chain of events that completely, now that we're looking back at it, I think this is where we were going with that. Now that I look back of it, has radically changed my son's life. It was the beginning of the process, but everything that happened after that has lined us up to where we are today. Our son was in a state where we could not have him in the house. Our son lives with us now. He's operating. He's fully rehabbed. He's doing everything that he needs to do to grow. And I think our conversation was basically talking about that. But as we were talking, I was just recalling, and it was coming to me that relationship was because of a decision that my grandparents made, or my grandfather made, back in the 60s or early 70s, to move to that neighborhood, which put me in line with different people. But that's just one. There's so many other stories like that that I'm able to look at today to see how it has greatly impacted us. As it relates to my purpose, I'm just today able to sit back and look at all of these things and understand that my life does have meaning. We go through things, this whole multiple myeloma situation, I realized that I could sit back and, just have that woe is me mentality. But as you had said a little while ago, my main purpose right now is to help others or to show others that regardless of what you go through, you can bounce back from it by being active, by, as I'm doing here on this call, by talking and sharing it with others. There's a healing within that that is much greater than the medicines and all the other things that are out there that we do.
Yeah, I think about, um, you said it would have taken years, and you guys did not have years.
Nope.
Yeah, we had, I think
You-
at that time we had months.
We had a few months.
Right.
And that's when speaking to purpose, this is how powerful God's plan is for your life. If this is why I consistently teach, if you don't give up, heaven won't give up. And when you're, and I love earthly deadlines. I love when you have like a line of demarcation and you can see it. A lot of times people miss their purpose and their opportunity because there's no deadline. And so we knew, for example, that for this thing to transpire in the natural, it has to be done by March 20, whatever that year was, at this time. So we knew that in reality, that whatever needed to happen. So that was an indicator for us that we can't give up 1 second before this deadline. And God came through. They picked up at 5 p.m. At 5 p.m. on the day before, like the 19th. The 20th would have been too late. The 19th at 5 p.m. I'll never forget, because we were standing in the parking lot. And I remember the sigh of relief, like, oh my gosh. And then I started laughing. They say, like, God is never late. Like, is always right on time. Well, I was like, you cut this real close. Like, this was real close. But that helps you to understand that when you are operating in what God has you to do, don't stop until you see the result. Do not stop until you see what God has promised. Do not stop 1 second before you see the revelation come to pass. And that was very powerful. That moment in time helped me with everything else that came after that.
Would it be wrong to say that purpose does not start with you? If you really think about it,
No, it doesn't.
Mike talked about something that started with his grandparents, that now in the 20,000 year, it's started to unfold. We neglect the fact that things in the past might still have a connection to the purpose. Why I say that? When the Israelites came out of Egypt, they came out because of purpose. What was the purpose? The purpose was to deliver. And that was way back when Abraham. They received something that was before them, that carried them as far as they could carry them. Then someone else picked up the purpose and carried it on and brought them into so when you think about it, we cannot neglect the fact that purpose is deeper than who we are.
Oh yeah, I think, and I know everyone knows. We come here with it. We spend an entire lifetime. I'll be 55 this year. I've spent an entire lifetime trying to understand what it is. But it has always been in me. I think it's something that is, of course, God given, but it's passed down through generations in some ways.
It's
Yeah.
it,
My-
it's like passing the baton
Right.
in a race. And so our purpose is nested within our lineage. And this is why when God started to deal with me, because I had some things where, if I had different, everybody goes through that. If I had different parents, then this would be, and God was like, you know how dumb that sounds? Like, God don't think, God talks to me in a different way. Like, that's ridiculous. You would not be who you are if you didn't have the parents that you have. And so even though air quote some scenarios may not have been ideal, they were ideal for you, for what you needed. And so our purpose is nested. Everyone's purpose is nested within the lineage from which they come. And so we can never separate ourselves from that. But the world has dumbed us down so much, and the world distracts us so much that we are educated out of our genius. We're educated out of our greatness. We're educated out of our purpose. And that's by design. Because think about how powerful people would be if everyone was able to lock in and to identify their purpose initially. Feel how powerful you feel when you do. Like for me right now, my purpose, there's no person I don't fear people anymore. I used to be afraid before I knew my purpose. Oh my gosh, this person can have my job. Oh my Lord, this person, they can fire me. When you know your purpose, you know how protected you are. I know for a fact that when I am on assignment, when I'm doing what I need to do, I pray for my enemies, because I pray for, if you come against the purpose that God has for me, woe be unto you. Because I know what I'm working with. I know, like with our son, like I was praying for those. Don't get in the way of this, y'all. Y'all don't want to get in the way of this. Because this is an assignment. And I shared that story when we were sitting at that table. Everything they tried to throw at us, you got to fill this form out. And the guy was like, oh, done. Oh, you got to do this. Oh, done. You got to do this. And I sat back for him. I started feeling good. I said, look at little. And Mike wasn't even at that meeting. It was just me. I'm on one side by myself, social worker here, and then like 5 deep on the other side. And I was like, look at this.
Purpose has strategy.
It has strategy. It has power. It has protection. It has peace. It has laughter. It has tears. It has everything that you need in it. I mean, Mike and I, we would be laughing sometimes. We'd be crying sometimes. It's like, this don't even make no sense. It don't make sense. It does not make sense.
Yeah, you said something a second ago, about what if we knew our purpose from kids. I mean, life, just think about it. How fun would life be? And why would we need to live as long as we do? It's almost like, some people discover it earlier. But, for us, I think for me, it's no better time. There were a lot of years that, I look back on today and it's like, man, they were wasted years, but they really weren't wasted years. It was me going through the process of learning all of the stuff that I needed to learn. This life has been almost like a God love story. If you think about it and how gentle God is throughout this process. So for me, what was it? 53, I think, when I was diagnosed, 50, 52, 53. It was almost like, okay, you haven't been hearing me. So I'm going to put you in this situation. And, as crazy as it sounded, I've said this before, I am so glad. I don't know if y'all could even hear me right. I am so glad that I've been taken through this process and this disease because, it's scary. There's a lot of things that I need to do, but it has placed me in a place where my life, and as I said before, my life has meaning. It has showed me what that meaning is. It has showed me like what I'm here to do. So when I wake up now, there's not a whole bunch of vacillating between what should I do and when I should do it and stuff like that. You know, I had told Alicia and I've told many other people when I was diagnosed, I went into this funk. I actually laid down in the bed for days. There were 2 days I laid in the bed, and on that third day, I heard the voice of God said, get up and stop moping around. Basically, you know, stop laying here and get out of that pity
Sorry,
party.
right?
Yeah, because there's work to do, and in so many ways, the voice was telling me to get up and prepare to tell your story because you're about to go through something that other people are going to be going through, and they need this information. So everything that has happened to me from 15, 20, 25, 30 years old has been preparing me for this. At 30, this would have totally crushed me. At 40, this would have totally crushed me. And not just me, it would have crushed this whole this whole family. So,
His
the beauty,
timing is perfect.
yeah,
His timing is perfect.
yeah, yeah,
And oftentimes we don't realize that everything that's going on in our life is to shape us, prepare us, strengthen us, teach us, and get us ready for the purpose that He has for us. But most times we will complain, we will gripe, we will cry, we will ask why is this happening? When you, in the beginning, said to God, Elohim, what am I supposed to do? What am I here for? What is my purpose? And then when we start going through things, we don't like the process of getting to purpose.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you said something, Mike. You were saying that's when we are children, our purpose is to be children. Now, our parents or someone around us might see purpose in us, but we're playing, we're going to the movies, we're at the playground, we're doing what we're supposed to do as children. Babies do what they're supposed to do as babies. So as we come along, yes, we're being developed, we're being mentored through the process. But then it comes to a stage where now we're adults, so things change. We begin to develop differently. Purpose begins to develop differently in us. But yes, the whole time we are developing, like you said. But our purpose is our purpose to be children, purpose to be babies, purpose to be teenagers, young adults. I don't know where they get that from, that long span of age in there, and then adults. So it's all a part of the process, but it all connects together.
One of the
We,
things that is very important, we also have to understand that we live in a fallen world. And because we live in a fallen world, a lot of times I feel that heaven uses the um the devices of the world in our favor because the world does a lot to distract us from our purpose. But when you look at it from a higher perspective, heaven uses that to protect our purpose. Because you have to look at also, like in the world understands purpose. The world understands like child prodigies. The world understands all of those things. On earth as it is in heaven, for everything in the natural, there's a parallel and corresponding occurrence in the supernatural. The world has talent scouts. The world has people that go out and they look for people, the children, the young people that automatically lean into their purpose, so they're easily picked. They're the low-hanging fruit. And I truly believe that in heaven's infinite wisdom, that heaven protects the majority of us from that. Because if we came down and operated in our purpose initially, the world would have a field day. And so by keeping that part hidden, then heaven allows us to discover it on our own versus having the world rob you of that innocence. And there's nothing, and that is so disheartening when you see child actors, when you see prodigies, when you see how the world will swoop in, max out everything, that every talent they have, and now they're strung out on drugs. They're depressed. Because the world has raped them of everything, robbed them of everything. And so when you look at your purpose, and a lot of times people are like, oh, I don't know my purpose is rejoice, because heaven has protected it. It's now your responsibility to mine it, to find it, to unearth it. It's been protected, so you don't destroy it. Like, I'm so grateful that, like, our purpose, our assignment was hidden long enough for us to get through our marriage problems, for us to get through our parenting problems. Because if we had our purpose and we started out with our purpose and we started doing those things, and then all of the stuff happened after, then we would be destroyed, because now we've created this image, we've created all of these things, and our purpose would be mishandled because now we're trying to hide all of our dysfunction. So now we can lead with our purpose because we've dealt with all of our stuff. So you got to look at it from different perspectives. So I know a lot of people struggle like with their purpose and all of that. And it's almost like if you haven't started operating in it fully, then that's a good thing, because heaven has protected you so you can get all of your crazy out of the way, so your purpose is uninhibited, so your purpose can move freely. Like Mike and I can move freely in our purpose now. We can go anywhere we want to go. We can say anything. We ain't got to worry about who's that in the audience. I don't know. She kind of cute. Mike, you know her? You know her? You know her?
Right,
And then people be whispering, and he'll be like, you know him? You know? And so now we walk firmly in our purpose and our assignment.
Yeah, now that you
I
say
saw
that.
on Facebook, y'all had shirts on, and it said "I love her" or something like that, and yours said something else. I was like, "Oh, ain't that cute?"
Oh, Cynthia got us those shirts. It was,
forgot what you
yeah,
said.
the her, I'm with her.
Yeah.
And I had her. Oh, our daughter and our son, they were like, oh my God, y'all at that age now? We haven't worn no shirts since. They like, y'all going out like that? We were all over it. We went in the store and everything. I was in the store, Mike went, and then the little girl at the register, she was like, I saw your husband. I said, what? His shirt said, I'm with her. You her.
Oh, yeah.
My daughter said, Mommy, don't put that shirt on again. I was like, we like to. We I guess we're showing our age or whatever. But yeah, it was some couple or something they started that. I liked the shirt. I thought they were cute. It was a cute idea.
They were cute. It was unique. I hadn't seen anything like that. I just happened to see it this morning. I was like, "Oh, look at them!"
We've been reprimanded. We can't wear those shirts no more. But they were cute. They were cute for that day. We felt so. We were like walking around like this. So cute. Our
Yeah, but
daughter's
some-
like, don't do it again.
Something you said, and it just kind of flashed in my head about the order of everything that we've been through. You know, so of course we got married, and there was the marriage issues, but then for me there was the daddy issues. You know, for so long. So that was kind of taken care of almost around the same time with the marriage stuff that we were going through. But if this would have been reversed, like I said before, if the multiple myeloma diagnosis would have come in before the marriage issues or before I resolved the daddy issues, I mean, this would be crazy. This would be crazy. If I'm trying to heal from that and deal with the marriage stuff at the same time, because she would have had her lips twisted. She wouldn't have been there to help and assist.
The buttons and the
Doctor, how long?
Yeah,
How
yeah.
long he got? I need you to sign some papers. It don't look good for him. I would have. They'd be like, you coming to? I mean, because I was able, because of everything works out, and this is the thing you have to understand. When you and this, we're gonna do. It's gonna be a supernatural workshop next weekend, and this is like, it's so important for me to help people to understand more of the characteristics of God. And everything is supernatural. Everything is supernatural. On earth as it is in heaven, everything is tethered to heaven. And the reason that Mike's diagnosis is so powerful, and the reason that we know is part of his assignment, because heaven is not going to require you to do any of heaven's work without instruction, without guidance.
right.
And what that looks like is that what the enemy, this is how you can tell is spiritual. A lot of times people mistake spiritual warfare for things that it is not. We knew for a fact, like, this whole thing was spiritual because of the dynamic of it, the energy. See, a true attack hits you off guard. Like an attack is something like you did not see this coming. And what I mean by that is, when this is how I knew it was God. Because see, when you can see it coming, when you say, I understand this, then that's an indicator that this is part of a consequence that you're attached to. So hypothetically, if you are a chain smoker, okay, and you get lung cancer, okay, that kind of makes sense because of the studies and all of that. If you are a chain smoker and you don't get lung cancer, then that's like God is on your side, because you know the consequences that are attached to that thing. So for us, for example, when Mike was diagnosed, when we told the children, I had just had like a colonoscopy, okay? And y'all know, honey, if you can cook it good, if you can fry, I'll eat it fried, smothered, whatever. My children know. They'll be looking at me like, you eating Popeyes, you eating this. I was like, if it's good, I'm going to eat it, okay? If it's cooked properly, I will eat it. So when we sat down that night and we were on the couch and the children came and we said, well, we need to talk to y'all. And they sat there. This was funny. And Mike, I was looking at Mike was looking at me. And then they were like, what's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong? And they came up to me, Mommy, it's going to be okay. Because I just had my colonoscopy, right? They were like, Mommy, it's going to be okay. We gonna be here for you. And I'm looking like, what? And they were expecting it to be me because it would make sense. And see, if it had been me, then it would have been like, you got to get your diet together, Mommy. You need to do this. You need to do that. And then when we said it was my, honey, you should have seen the look of, and then my son, what? He was like, he's the healthiest one out of all of us. The Brussels sprouts and the chicken, and he rides 1,000,000 miles a weekend, and he does, and we were like, this don't make no sense. That's how you know it's an attack. It don't make sense. It does not make sense. But the powerful part of the whole story is that God gave us a heads up. Mike found out because of a routine doctor's appointment that God had me to set up for us. I never set up his appointments. Mike does his own appointments. And when he came in that day, I said, Mike, I made us doctor's appointments. He was like, huh? I said, yeah, we got doctors. He was like, oh, okay. What? He didn't even resist it. This is how you can tell that heaven is doing something based on the temperament, based on the atmosphere. And when it all came to pass, it was almost like heaven was showing us, like the enemy knows what's coming to you good, and the enemy knows it's no longer good nor bad when you're operating in God's economy. But whatever happens, the enemy can take it and use it to destroy you. But it's your responsibility to circumvent the enemy's approach and allow God to use it to serve you. So God was like, I need to show you what's coming. And if you ignore all of this, then the enemy is going to take it and sift y'all like wheat. But if you look at this right now and you are proactive, then we will get ahead of the enemy's plan. And now we are going to use this for heaven's glory. This is why radical obedience is so important. The multiple myeloma was on its way. The multiple myeloma was already in the equation. It's your positioning that makes the difference. Are you ahead of it or are you behind it? The goal is to always be ahead of it. So that's why this is so important. This is why purpose, when I share the story about the attorney that got killed on the motorcycle accident was already in the plan. The question is, are you ahead of it or are you behind it? God was trying to position him to be ahead of it, because I literally went into his office and I told him, you need to separate yourself from everything attached to this one attorney. He agreed with me. God had given him the same message, but he was not obedient. A lot of destructive things that happen in our life do not have to happen if you are in the right position. The thing is already in motion. It's already there. The accident is already in motion. The diagnosis is already in motion. The destructive force is already in motion. Are you ahead of it or are you behind it? I choose, as much as I can be, ahead of it. Radical obedience. This is why I consistently teach radical obedience, because radical obedience keeps you ahead.
Yeah, that's true. When you think about children and when they're told not to do something, and then something tragically happens to them, and it's because they did not obey, because they chose their own will over something that could have saved their lives. And a lot of times it's the same with us as adults, and that we need to pay attention. We need to be in a place that we realize that life is not a play, and that we really have to be ahead of the game. Because why? Everything is before the foundation of the earth. Everything has been already positioned. When Adam and Eve ate, it was in position for them to do their will or the will of the Father.
Amen.
They chose their will. And so you see the progress of doing your own will instead of the will of the Father. So I think that's a good statement. Wanda, I don't know if you have anything you want to say. But yeah, you two can continue. Y'all had a lot of purposes.
So yeah, I when you were talking, I just thought back to the time where, and Alicia just said that we have to kind of be ahead of it. I don't know that I was really ahead of it. I was ahead of it in some ways, but that obedience part, I was on the fence, because I was thinking of the time, and I told Alicia this about a month ago. We had talked about a situation because I used to run. As I bike now, I used to run just as hard. I mean, I was always running, and I would there around our neighborhood. There's like a 3 mile loop, and I would just go out and, at least several times a week do this 3 mile loop. And one day I went out and did the loop, and as I'm running, I'm probably a mile in, I started itching.
It's not funny, but now I want to bust him in his face.
This is going so.
We didn't have to go through all this.
This is going somewhere. I know, like what? So I'm running and I'm just itching, and as I'm running, I'm starting to run faster, and I'm starting to itch more, and it's like, man, what's going on? Just itching, and then 2 miles in, I'm like, and it's not stopping. I can't stop itching, but it's like, let me keep on running. I'm sweating, and it's warm outside. 2.5 miles in, I'm itching like crazy, and I could feel my lips starting to swell. I could feel my face beginning to swell or feel like it was swelling. So I'm scratching, running, and I know people are looking at me like, what's wrong with this guy? So I had my cell phone. I'm probably, by that time, a good mile from the house. I called Alicia, and I'm like, you have to come get me. And this is what I'm thinking, but she never answered the phone, by the way. So I'm calling her to say, hey.
I took a nap. I was asleep.
I'm calling her to say, hey, come get me. Because I had stopped running, and it felt like I was about to pass out. So I said, well, let me keep on running, because if I stop right here, I don't want to be caught, or I don't want to be found on the side of the road. So I kept running. I would slow down a little bit, itching, and then I kept running. And of course, she's not answering the phone. By the time I got to the front door, I'm banging.
Oh my God! I thought it was
on
the
the front
police.
door.
I thought it was the police, and I really wasn't gonna answer.
My face, my lips, my hands swollen.
It was awful.
I had some type of reaction, and Alicia opened the door, and I just fell into the door.
He literally fell into the door, pulled him into the living room. He's laying on the floor. And this is how stubborn he is. I'm like, I'm calling 911. I'm not a medical professional, but I know this don't look good. He's like, don't call. I was like, you crazy. I called 911, and they got there. He was literally like, delusional. It was ridiculous. Like he didn't, his eyes. I took a picture of it. I was like, if I need to show the doctor or whatever, because it was just, the swelling was, I could only imagine what was going on inside of him. If he was swelling like that on the outside, I didn't know, what was going on internally, but I don't even think you ever went to the doctor for that.
No, I didn't, and I
Child,
think
we could have circumvented
I
probably
think,
all of
you
that.
know,
Now I'm mad.
within an hour's time, I went back to normal.
And he went to run again. I said, Mike.
Not the same day.
Not the same day, but within the month or so.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I said, you gonna run again? He said, yeah, I'm just gonna go a different way. I said, are you kidding me?
So at the time, I assumed it was something with
In
the
the
trees or something in the air. So of course now, many years later, the doctors really can't put two and two together. But, as I was thinking about a month ago, it was like, that was probably a sign that
If you had
something's
probably
But
gone to, yeah.
yeah, I had never had that again. I would have, sometimes if I was in the gym, I would start itching, and I would know
Not the scratch.
to stop doing what I was doing, to slow down, to stop sweating as much. But as I think back, it was a sign. It was something that God is always talking to us and giving us clues as to what needs to be done. And I'm saying all this to say, that for me, I wasn't as obedient as I was today, back then. There are so many things that, we could look at. I was still that 20-year-old, the 20-year-old and 30-year-old me had so many clues. I had so many clues that were ultimately like the doorways to my purpose. But I just kept walking past the doorway, time after time again. I shared the time I was in a tragic accident, fell asleep behind the wheel of a car doing 60, 65 miles per hour, ran into an accident scene and got out the car unhurt. It was on the beltway.
Wait, what do you mean you ran into an accident scene?
I was asleep in a car and there was an accident on the beltway.
It's not funny, but
And I ran right into it.
it's not funny. But I'm just like,
So
who does that?
So what?
Who does? I mean, Mike has had so many. Like, you would sit here and listen to his stories. Like, are you kidding me? And even our like marriage story. This is how crazy it is. He knew the person. Like, he knew. This is how crazy our purpose, our assignment is intertwined. He knew the wife of the person. Like, it was ridiculous. Like, when we start putting all of the pieces together, it was like, what are the chances? What are the chances that you marry someone and have an affair with someone and they actually know, like, really know the wife of this isn't some small town Lifetime movie stuff. This is so, and so you got to sit here and scratch your head like, what is really going on?
Yeah.
What is really going on here? So we had to really lean into the fact, like, this ain't normal. This is not normal. We go to marriage counseling, and of all of the counselors we could have chosen, this person uses a reference to a couple that is related to him. We sitting there like,
Yeah, it's only as he's telling the story, we're like, yeah, we know exactly who that is. He's
like,
telling
yo,
a story.
whatever. And then
Yeah.
Mike gave the name, and he was like, you know them? So when you start to really come together, and see, there's an individual purpose you have as an individual, and then when you come together as a couple, you have to identify, like, some people force their relationships. Some people force things to happen. And when you force those things, you can't manipulate a purpose. People try to manipulate a purpose, but when heaven puts you together on purpose, you can't ignore that. At some point, you have to sit back and really say, God, I surrender, because this is just too crazy not to take inventory of.
Oh yeah.
Too crazy.
I think, as we talk, the thing that I'm realizing is, all of the stuff that we've been through. I share the story about the car accident. I mean, there's so many other things that have happened. And we sit here today, and I know it, Alicia probably has known this for a long time, but our purpose is really to share our stories and our experiences to help others understand that, that pain that you're experiencing is purpose. Your purpose is wrapped up in all of those pains that you have. Your purpose is right there in that. And so many people
Try to circumvent the pain. That's
Yeah,
like, if I
well,
could just
yeah.
stop the pain, if I could get around the pain, baby, you got to go through the pain. Through the pain. That's where the purpose is, on the other side of that pain.
Yeah. So when you see, a lot of divorces and things like that, and I'm not saying that, every divorce isn't warranted. There's situations where you, you really need to get out of that situation, but there are some that are tapping out well beyond the point that they need to tap out, because that thing that's irritating you is the same thing that's going to irritate you in any other relationship that you have. And part of our stories, as people, as couples, as married couples, is, and I look at my grandparents, it's the same thing. There was stuff. There was stuff in their marriage. There was stuff in my mother's marriage. My grandparents, I mean, you work through it.
Yeah.
And there's a shining or a a polishing that happens in your life when you begin to go through and work through these things. I'm not saying stay and just deal with stuff that is unchanging, but it's work. I think when people get married, we automatically think that it's roses. It's all like bells and roses. This is the most difficult thing you could ever do in your life. So part of my purpose today is and then I'm realizing that not too many people are able to go through this type of stuff and come out. There are others that do, but our purpose is to share each and every bit that we have. And there's a lot of bits. This multiple myeloma journey is like the ice cream, the cherry on the top. I swear, it's the cherry on top. So I'm at the point now where what can be worse?
Hey, we ain't saying
What can
that.
be-
We
no,
not saying we
I'm
doing
just
that.
saying.
We not. No.
And maybe I shouldn't say what can be worse.
This is where I separate myself from this conversation. Lord,
Just pray for crop
Maybe I
failure.
shouldn't
Just
say what could be
might-
worse.
Might just say I pray for crop failure.
Yeah.
That will cut it off.
I guess what I'm saying is how much can we go through that could break us? I mean, what else can present itself? Because there are things that will always
I don't want to
present
find out.
itself.
I just want to be radically obedient. I want to know that whatever God tells me, this is where we separate. I just want to know whatever God tells me to do, I'm going to do it. I don't even want to be.
All of that.
I don't want to be tested. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. We have faced foreclosure. We've had the process servers at our door. We've had the cops at our door. We've had ambulances pulling up like Ubers. We've had
No, and I understand that. I'm basically saying at some point you become calloused in your experiences. So it's like anything that presents itself in our life today, it's like
oh, I'm not moved by this. I see what you're
how do
saying.
we-
Like it's like keep
how,
moving, keep
how do
going.
you how I mean at this point what could actually bring me to my knees?
I don't want to know.
I'm just saying. I mean,
Okay.
just
So let's figure out a different way to say it, Mike.
Dear Lord, we accept all of the lessons that you have taught us. We
Yes,
are learning,
yes.
we are willing, we are capable. But if you don't ever have to prove nothing else to us, we good. We good.
right. No, and I get it. I
Amen.
definitely get it. I understand the lesson now. I see the lessons. As you say, you always say, there is a point that it becomes iniquity.
Oh,
When
yeah.
When you
yeah.
know
See it, yeah.
something and you just keep on
Oh, I see what you're
doing
saying.
something
Yeah.
a certain
I see
way,
what you're saying. Yeah.
I get that now.
Oh, okay.
I
yeah.
get that.
So it
You
was,
know.
and that was the whole thing. Like we laugh now about like our relationship issues, and so like I'm like I ain't built for this. Lord, just help me, show me how to turn this around because I can't do it. And that was the thing where sin, when you learn what you need to learn, you do what you need to do, God points you in the right direction, then that sin has not been wasted. Now, if you know everything that's going to happen, so for example, Mike and I, as far as the marriage piece is concerned, I can honestly say we're at a place now where that will not be an issue simply because our sin, we have learned what we needed to. Now, if we go into this knowing what it does mentally, spiritually, knowing what it does spiritually, knowing what it does mentally, knowing what it does physically, and we are fully aware of this and we enter into this again, then that's a whole nother ballpark. That's iniquity, and heaven deals with that differently. And so this is why it's very important that when you're dealing with sin and you're dealing with not being radically obedient, that you learn as quickly as possible so that sin can be used powerfully. And so missing the mark is simply that. It's just missing the mark. It's just like I didn't get the full message, God. So help me. So like with his multiple myeloma diagnosis, a lot of that, and we were talking about this as well. The forgiveness piece was huge. God had us to do that deep, not just surface forgiveness work.
Top of the line. That's top of the line.
It's the deep forgiveness work. A lot of people do the surface forgiveness work, but in order to overcome deep occurrences in your life, you have to do the deep work. And a lot of times people, and this is the thing people don't realize, is that heaven is going to get from you everything that heaven needs to get from you. Either you do it willingly or you do it unwillingly, but it's going to be done. I am so grateful that we were radically obedient when God told us to do the work before, because heaven knew that the forgiveness work was going to have to come. But the forgiveness work coming when you are a willing participant versus it coming when you are forced is a whole different thing. Like for me and Mike, if Mike had been diagnosed and we had not done the forgiveness work, now we forgiving each other because we scared. Lord, I don't want you to leave here without you knowing that I really didn't mean to do. And your emotions cloud the true forgiveness work. But now we know that we have really done the forgiveness work and it's real. So there's nothing worse than like deathbed confessions, doing it at the end of life. You want to do it as early in your life as possible so you can maximize the blessing.
That's good. That's good. And I like that you said that. You talked about, what you say about the fog?
About the
Um,
what? What I say? What she
It
said?
slipped my mind.
The fog.
No, you were talking about what distracts or keeps you from seeing what's in front of you. I kind of got thrown off here. I'm sorry.
Oh, all of the worldly distractions?
The worldly distraction keeps you from understanding or
Understanding the purpose or the assignment?
it was tied into that. I'm sorry. Kind of lost my train of thought here.
I know
But
we've been all over the place, Leslie. I'm sorry.
it wasn't you. She just said it. She was talking about not having clarity. But yeah, it was forgiveness, but it was how it can hinder what you have to do. I can't remember right now, but we are at the top of the hour. I don't know if there's anything else you want to say. I appreciate you guys being here. And yes, in the near future, we'll have to have you back on because this is just the tip. It's not even the whole story, but it's just bits and pieces of your story and how you have conquered and come together to be a powerful, what is it, Mrs. and
And
miracles.
Yeah.
Did I see something the other day? Was that an old video, Alicia, or you was talking about it the other day
Would-
What video?
on Mrs.
Oh, I think we just put that out. The most recent one.
Yeah,
Yeah, so we're getting ready to start, and this is how you can also tell, like, we had started Mrs. and Miracles kind of briefly, and then we lives and things like that, and you can always tell based on the effort that the enemy puts in to delay things or to interrupt things. And so we're even more determined now to put out more information to help people, to help families, to help parents. The enemy attacks families because the enemy was kicked out of the family. Heaven, the fallen angels, like those, they were removed from the family. And so this is why the family is under so much attack, because the enemy wants to belong to something. The enemy wants, and if the enemy sees and senses and experiences the fruitfulness and the true sanctity of family, that's very disturbing. And we fall prey to that in so many ways because we're uneducated, if you will, in the things of heaven and in the things of God and in the character of God. And family is huge. Relationships are huge. Community is huge. Integrity and truth is huge. But we're in such a society where people just want to network and get with people that can advance their agenda, and once they're done with you, they move on to somebody else, and then but that's not who we are. Like when we say, like, the work that we do, especially in like the community that we have, we like, everybody's like cousins. Like, we be talking about people like they part of our family for real. You know, such and such said this and da 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 da, and like we all cousins or something, because that's what community means for us. But you can only be that if you have done the work. And we really want families to win. We really want, a lot of times people will say that they want, you know, to help couples and relationships and things like that. But if the price ain't right, they not going to help you. If the, you know, well, you got to come to this and you got to do this, and if you sign up here and do this, but if you can't afford it or you can't do it, then they can't help you. That's not our agenda. Like, we legitimately just want families to heal. We legitimately want children to have good parents. We want whatever that looks like. And so that's our purpose. The money, all of those things are encoded in the process. So when you understand your purpose, you know that you have everything that you need if you don't give up. So we're looking forward to doing more Messes, Misses, and Miracles, doing as much as we can, how we can, because God has not healed us just so we can have like good barbecues and, you know, take pretty pictures.
Yeah.
And keep it to yourself, right?
That's the thing. I think that's where people miss the purpose, because your purpose is never revealed just for you. It's never revealed just for you. Your selfish endeavors, when people start talking about, look at my house, look at my car, look at the cruise I'm on, look at this, then that makes me question your purpose. Because if your purpose is not enhancing the lives of others, then I'm questioning whether or not this is truly a purpose assigned from God.
That's good. So thank you so much. And thank you, everybody that's been here listening. This has been really good. It's been powerful. And we pray that if you did not hear it from the beginning, that you would go back and listen and get some good nuggets, because life is still life, but it's your choice the way it lifes. If Mike had not been healed before his diagnosis, it probably would have ended up differently than it did. And if Alicia hadn't stopped cutting up buttons and snapping the back of the hats, it would have been real
That's
different.
old, Leslie. That's old. Let that go. That was so long ago. That was
So long ago. But if they never came together, their purpose would not have ever come together. It would have been stagnated. It would have been like strings. They're talking about chicken now that you buy it, and it's all stringy. It's not even real chicken. That's how their relationship would have been. Stringy, not even a real relationship.
Now I can't get that analogy out of my head. That's gonna mess me up, Leslie.
Mike and his chicken, right?
Oh Lord.
Okay, I get it. I get it. I think I get it.
I haven't seen that chicken before. But
I ain't seen
I'll
that.
be on
I
the
don't
lookout
want to
for
see.
it.
We don't want to see that
I'm
chicken.
gonna be on the lookout for that chicken.
I'm sorry. But we honestly appreciate the two of you. Glad that you have a story to tell of victory. not casualty, but victory. And your purpose is for not the, I should say your purpose is for someone else to see that who you serve is willing to be brighter in your life than the things you go through. So
Amen.
until we meet again, I want to tell everybody thank you for being here. And I want you to have an amazing day. Go out, love on somebody. Even if you feel like you don't feel like loving, find somebody to love on today. Oh, and we'll see you again next Sunday. Team Johnson, that's right.
Thank you, Team Charles. No nuts with the no
No
nuts shout
nuts.
out.